Breaking and terrible news this morning on jobs numbers that we've just gotten in for the week. Initial jobless claims have actually risen from last week to 898,000. So analysts had actually expected a drop to 825,000 this week. So the S&P 500 is dropping on the news. This is very important because it's actually one of the first upticks that we've seen in a while. We've seen a general stasis, I'm looking at the charts now, for the last 5 or 6 weeks below the 1 million figure, hovering around the 850,000 range. I believe that would be the average. We need to understand very clearly, these are not temporary jobs. But if you're losing your job, 898,000 people who lost their job or went on unemployment this week, this late in the pandemic, it's over for that business. It's not coming back, right? And this makes the stake of the stimulus talks even bigger. And as we sit here, I couldn't tell you what the hell is going on. Steve Mnuchin's calling Nancy Pelosi. That's nice. He also said yesterday, I see it very hard. I think it would be very hard to get a deal done by the election. I think it's a human tragedy. And every single time I look at one of these numbers, and every week we see over about 1 million, approximately 1 million people go on unemployment. I'm a realist. I don't think that job's coming back for at least 2 to 3 years. And the devastation that wrought in the Great Recession, we're still not over that.
Absolutely not in any way. And it's easy to become numb to these types of large figures coming out week after week after week. These are historic level high numbers of people filing unemployment every single week. And to see it now, this far into the pandemic, ticking up, heading in the wrong direction, much higher, significantly higher than what analysts were expecting, is a devastating sign. We were already looking at, there's a New York Times article, since the federal aid dried up back in May, end of May was basically when most things ran out, at least the full initial, the $600 plus up, of course the $1,200 checks were a one-time deal, the PPP money, all that stuff started to end. 8 million people from that time have slipped into poverty because these programs really did help. They really were a lifeline. They really helped people be able to keep it together. We actually saw poverty rates decline because the aid was so effective. And so as you look now, what's the deal that Republicans, well, I shouldn't say Republicans, Mnuchin, we don't know whether the Senate Republicans would ultimately even go along with it. A lot of them have signaled that they wouldn't. But what Mnuchin has put on the table is $1.8 trillion. It's not perfect, but it would be $400 unemployment plus up, significant.
Yes.
It would be another round of checks, including additional money for people who have kids. It would be some money for schools. It would be some money for state and local. It would be money for airlines to make sure that those tens of thousands of workers who've been furloughed can be brought back onto the job. It would make a difference. And it's not just speculation that the job losses we're seeing now are overwhelmingly long-term permanent job losses. That is what the numbers reflect.
Yes.
As we've gone on and on in this crisis, some jobs have started to come back. That pace has dramatically slowed. But over the entire course of the crisis, the number of permanent job losses has continued to pile up and pile up and pile up so that now we are in the millions of permanent job losses. That means that's not coming back, and these people are really going to struggle to get back into the workforce.
Yeah, and this quote brings it all home to me. They tell us people are having a lot more trouble paying their bills, paying their rent, and putting food on the table. And now, if they're not going to pass a stimulus, if we have to go 4 months, you're probably going to you're talking $4 to $5 trillion in damage to the U.S. economy. And if you think Congress is going to make that up in this political environment, that ain't going to happen.
And that's the thing.
This is a choice.
It is 100% a choice. And that's the thing. I am oftentimes in favor of the Democrats taking a bit of a harder line and trying to extract more. I was in favor of that in the initial stimulus. I thought they could have done better and gotten some things that would have provided more stability so that you didn't end up in this cliff situation that we've faced. But at this point, look, you're 19 days now to the election, a couple weeks to the election, okay? After the election, no one's going to do anything. Let's not delude ourselves. In a lame duck session, nothing is going to happen. And so you're at least saying this isn't going to happen then if we don't get a deal now until early next year. And then who knows what kind of a landscape we're facing? Who knows what kind of headwinds Joe Biden? Who knows how motivated he actually is going to be to get anything done? You know, the Republicans are they're already back to their like austerity, deficit hawk mindset. They're going to be as oppositional as they possibly can. You've got a lot of centrist Democrats who will go along with that. And Joe Biden has been one of those centrist Democrats who go along with that insane mindset over decades of his career. Is he going to change once he gets in office? It seems unlikely.
Yeah, I think that's right.
All right, we're going to have more Rising for you after this.